Welcome to podcast at the Lighthouse. I'm Chris Mitchell, and this is the lovely Gretchen Mitchell, and we're here to have a conversation today about relational leadership. So, welcome to the podcast, Gretch.
Thank you. It's nice, isn't it? It's
Yeah.
fun. So, Chris, tell us, what is relational leadership?
um, I think over a number of years of working, particularly in middle management and working with leaders, I just kept having these experiences where the blockage for leaders and the blockage for people and the blockage for teams. And now, even in families and in marriages, the blockages are always our relational skilling, how well we connect,
Yeah.
how well we speak to each other, how good are we at solving problems together. Yeah, and there's a couple of smaller parts to this, but really for me, these are the elements that make up what relational leadership is. And so, yeah, and so over the years, I've got really interested in relational leadership, and I think probably even relational intelligence altogether. And how relational intelligent are we?
And so you may have noticed we have the same last name. We're not brother and sister, we're married. And so I think a lot of the material that Chris has used, and the reason why he got into this is because of our interactions. Probably you're talking about the way we speak to each other. There was a lot of disasters early on. And so I kind of think that part of it is like it's personal. We learned we need to understand this for ourselves.
Yeah.
And then you also see it at work, and then we had kids. Oh my gosh. So we needed to do it there.
In the parenting space?
That's right.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's pretty much important everywhere, do you think?
Oh, absolutely everywhere. And I think my experience was I was working backwards from the workplace and what I was learning there, having been in full-time work for a number of years before we got married. But I was seeing all of those issues coming up in that space.
Yeah.
And then, when we get married and, things go well and things are difficult, as we worked our way through those challenges, we realized how relationally intelligent we needed to be together.
Mm.
And then with the family, and I really think these are the three spheres, what I call the three spheres of relational leadership or relational intelligence, that we need relational intelligence for the workspace, we need relational intelligence for our marriages and our intimate relationships, and we need relational intelligence for our parenting and our family upbringing.
So tell us, what is something that's really key in relational leadership? Like something that would really help me even today in my life, in either my work, my marriage, or my family.
Yeah, well, probably it'll go across all three, but what comes to mind straight away is a story of a group of teachers that I worked with just locally here, actually. And we had 60 teachers come to a half-day workshop that we
Mm.
call Discovering the Gift in You. And in that workshop, we looked at each person's individual personality.
I
And
remember this.
yeah,
Yes,
and
that's
we
right.
looked at their communication style. And one of the things that we did, we helped people recognize what their primary personality was and their secondary, and there's that everybody's a mix.
Yeah.
But then we got people to stand on a grid on the floor, what
Mm,
personality type was their primary.
yeah.
And so the principal, the deputy principal, the head of grounds staff, and two other people in the staff were in one quadrant. One person was in one quadrant all by themselves, and the whole
Everyone
rest of
else.
the working community were in the two other quadrants. And the principal turned to me and said, "Wow, now I understand who I'm working with. And now I understand how to work with them just by having done the
Just
assessment
seeing this.
and then
Yeah.
just seeing what their primary personality is." Because in the personality space, a personality speaks about what's your tendency for how you'll respond to a scenario. It's a little bit of your default, it's a little bit of your where would you go, it's a little bit of like how would you handle this.
Mm.
And there's just so much consistency across people, which is why assessments in personalities work.
And then I guess she can adjust how she communicates with people that are different from her. Because I guess, is it true that we mostly like communicate in the way that we like to be communicated to?
That's my experience. Is that
Yeah,
your
I think
experience?
so. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I guess you just know how to do that better, maybe.
Yeah.
But
And
then again, I am pretty direct at times and I don't always love being directly spoken to. So maybe it's not.
yeah, but maybe your modality of being direct is actually the way that you're showing caring, efficient, communication with other people. And we see that with, people in your personality type. People in my personality type like it gentle, slow, very kind, don't want any ruffling of the feathers. And if we get our switches thrown or we get triggered, like being really present can be difficult. And everybody's
Yeah.
a combination. But yeah, like, so a good example of relational intelligence is like, how do you speak to your spouse? How do you speak to your boss? How do you receive information from your children? How do you receive information from a colleague? Like that communication give and take really can demonstrate somebody's relational intelligence.
And I think for me, one of the key moments for in our family was when we realized the personality type of our second daughter
Yeah.
and realized she was so different from me, and that all the things that I did that I thought were really good, she perceived them in a negative way.
Yes.
I was
Yeah.
like, oh no, this is really bad.
Yeah.
And so,
So what did you do in that scenario?
well, it's taken a while, but I have adjusted the way that I communicate with her and not been as direct. And yeah, been a lot more gentle, just adjusted lots of things that
Yeah.
have made a big difference. Yeah.
Yeah. And I found in working with her, she needs lots of gentle questions and she
Mm.
needs time to be calm. And if she's flustered, that's not the time that you can have a conversation. So, in a way, there's a relational leadership happening here in the home space,
Right.
where as parents, we're leading her and we're leading the conversation and we're being very
Trying to
intelligent.
lead myself.
Yeah, trying to be really intelligent about the way that we handle that conversation so that all of us get a good outcome.
That's right.
Yeah.
And it's made a big difference.
It's good. Which probably brings me to one of my points about relational leadership and the intelligence. Like, why do we need that?
Yeah.
And I think it probably comes back to me to like, what is leadership and what's leadership about? And for me, a key part of leadership is the ability to solve problems. So whether it's by yourself, inside yourself, whether it's at
With
home
your
with a
team.
family, whether it's a team, the goal is to solve the problems that come up.
Mm.
The goal is to come up with creative solutions. The goal is to innovate. The goal of leadership is to get people to come along on the journey and collaborate really well together.
Mm.
It's about creating a culture that's really healthy. It's about building healthy connections. It's about building a healthy community. And it's about growing people that have strong, healthy character. And so they're the four that I tend to go
That you
to.
like. Yeah.
I really like going to those, and they cover a lot of ground. And so for me, a leader is somebody who, and I'll use a quote from my mate John in Canada, who works at Muskoka Woods, and he says, a leader is someone that looks at the world and says, it doesn't have to be that way, and does something about it. So this is the idea of what a leader is. So relational leadership is the thought and the practice of, okay, we're doing leadership, we have to solve problems, we need to work together, we have to collaborate. Let's do that relationally.
And well.
Yeah, and let's be really aware of the economy that happens between us, which is basically trust. Like, do you trust me? Do I trust you? If we don't have any economy there, then it's going to be very difficult for us to move ahead. Do we have those things? Do we communicate well? Do I understand your personality? Do I understand how you receive things? Do you understand that about me? Do I understand the best way to give it to you so that you can get what I'm saying? And so, as we know, sometimes that's a yes and sometimes that's a no. But for people in workplaces or in relationships where they're not aware of this at all,
Yeah.
the problem that happens, and you would see this in the marriages you counsel, I see it in the marriages I coach, and I see it in the workplaces that I go and coach. Lots of people don't do any work on this space. They're not growing their relational competence, their relational capacity, and so the cohesion of the environment is not getting any better. But really, to learn these skills and become more relationally intelligent is quite simple. And there are just some really basic building blocks that we can pull out of.
So anyone can do it.
Absolutely. Like, there's some very basic psychology, some very basic sociology, some very basic social work theories and ideas that are super helpful in how to do this. Yeah.
Awesome. And so I guess finishing off our podcast today, like why should the people listening care about this, Chris? Like we love it, we're
Yeah.
really into it, but
Yeah,
why
we're
should
really
they
into
care?
it. Yeah. Well, I kind of look at it this way. How would you like your life to be? So would you like your life to be like this, where teams and people you're working with have high levels of effective collaboration?
That would be helpful.
Yeah, well, relational leadership helps with that. How do you like going about solving conflicts?
Hmm.
Yeah. So some people are actually happy with a high level of combat or conflict in their environment, but
Yes.
the whole purpose of a conflict is to lead to a solution.
Right.
And so naturally, the best way to do that is relationally. One of the definitions I love about leadership itself is that leadership is influence. It comes from John Maxwell.
Mm.
And I think, well, if you wanted to influence somebody positively, now this might be bringing up your kids, it might be your spouse, might be your partner, might be a work colleague. If you want to influence them, well, you're actually already using relational skills and strategies. But if you don't know how to influence somebody, what would it be like for you to get better at doing that and starting to understand and uncover some of the relational strategies that you could use?
Mm.
Yeah. If a big problem comes up,
Yep.
do you have the conversational skills and tools to be able to navigate that problem?
Mm.
Now, to do that well and not upset each other and not trigger each other, but to actually make progress in the conversation, you need some relational skills. Yeah. So, like, this is a snapshot of some of the things that could be so much better in our worlds if we got better at relational leadership, no matter what sphere it's in, and
Yeah.
understood some relational intelligence practices. Yeah.
That's awesome. Wow. I
Yeah.
look forward to what you're going to share with us next time.
Yeah, I look forward too. And so this is going to open up a whole opportunity for us to discuss and share some great content with you on this podcast at the Lighthouse. Particularly in the space, we'll be able to tap into Gretchen's knowledge from the counseling space and hopefully tap into a little bit of my knowledge from the coaching and education space and put that all together and help you, the viewers and the listeners, get much better at your relational intelligence in extremely practical ways. So this is Chris and Gretchen signing off from podcast 1. We look forward to being again with you soon. Hey, this is Chris at the Lighthouse. Thanks for listening to our podcast Lead Well. Produced at the Lighthouse in conjunction with Story Films. Help us share by following us on Spotify and YouTube. You know how to do that. Thank you so much for helping us build communities led by healthy leaders.